Good morning. It is December 2nd. Kyle and I are live from the National Press Room in Washington, D.C., just a block or two from the White House.
Real close.
Today we're at the Merge, the Alliance for Automotive Innovation's big event where they bring through investors, OEMs, there's one I'm missing, manufacturers. OEMs. It's an OEM.
And policymakers.
Policymakers.
Yeah, there you go.
Three things early in the morning. It was
Lots
one
of
of those 4:30 a.m. getting on your plane kind of things.
We had one of those typical DC mornings. It's a little rainy outside, but we got inside. The energy's already great in here. We had great coffee.
We did.
If you need to know the coffee spot in DC, you let your boy know. I'm always on it.
We're going to be on the ground today, bringing you a lot of podcasts and interviews from what's going on here, which I'm excited about because this isn't the typical audience that we talk about.
Right.
And we do podcasting content. Bringing things together like this, I think, really connects the dots between the front lines and the stuff that we talk about more often and that are being affect the front lines not too long from now.
Yeah, to be in a place like this where, you know, in the heart of DC, the people that are making these decisions, that are interested in the decisions that flow all the way down into retail is super important to us. It's not just, you know, what's happening at the manufacturer, what's happening at the dealer, but what happens in that in between, in the space that honestly a lot of customers care a lot about, or maybe they don't recognize they care, but it's very important to them. So the conversations that happen today are going to be really important. We're happy to bring them to you.
Yeah, we are, and we're not going to wait any longer. We have the man of the hour, the president and CEO of the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, John Bozella. I feel like there should be a round of applause. Can we get a crew round of applause? Thanks for joining us, John.
Good to see you.
Thanks for inviting us today. We know they need you in here because you have a show to put on. But can you give us a little background on why this event even exists?
Yeah, like first of all, you just as in your opening here, I think you're so right that the business starts and ends with the customer, right? Like that's where all the action is, right? But if you think about everything that's happening upstream, the capital allocation decisions that big companies have to make years before a product gets to a dealership and gets to a customer, you think about all of the policies and regulation that affect the decisions around that product. That's what we're really focused on today, are the big picture issues related to affordability, related to access to the market, related to things that customers ultimately need to care about in the product. So that's really what it's about.
What are some of those things? Let's maybe go through each of the groups that are here today.
Yeah.
Start with the manufacturers and some of the things that are of highest concern to them in the conversations that we might have.
Yeah, I love it. And you guys have locked right into this idea of the merge. So one stream of the merging streams is the automaker conversation, right? And so this animates our boardroom, and we have a board meeting at Alliance for Automotive Innovation tomorrow. And here's what you hear. You're going to hear, hey, how do we get a durable, consistent, long-range policy environment that can support success for a high asset, long lead time industry, right? So if you have investment decisions and capital allocation decisions, you're General Motors or you're a Toyota, you got to make these decisions 10 years in advance. And meanwhile, you've got these elections. And elections have consequences. And so you have this pendulum swing
all the time,
back and forth. We have, very, very aggressive regulation that probably gets ahead of where the market is. And then you have a swing back to the other end, the other extreme, which is no regulation. And so really what automakers focus on is consistent, durable, predictable regulation that continues progress. Let's have lower emissions. Let's have more safety. Let's get more access to personal mobility for people.
Yeah.
And let's have a great retail environment. Those are the ambitions, and so you need a balanced regulatory environment to support those.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying here is not, hey, we want to throw out regulation and have it all on the OEMs. The manufacturers are interested in progressive movement toward things like different powertrains, things like regulatory stuff on safety, but it's all in due time, all with the right ability to create capital investment in the manufacturing process or the R&D process to get to those ends.
You have it exactly right. You got to respect the choice that customers make, what their needs and wants are in the market now and over the next few years. And a smart regulation balances customer realities and market realities with those ambitions for more safety and lower emissions.
Yeah.
And we obviously can't ignore the global pressure being put on because of those alternative drivetrains that are very quickly going to become primary drivetrains, or at least very competitive. A lot of global pressure on OEMs to make changes, regardless of what the customer is asking for. They are feeling these pressures, and they kind of, Jim Farley has said a lot about like Chinese EV makers and what that's going to do to the industry. And so there's obviously a delicate dance happening. We're going to talk about some of that stuff today.
Absolutely. This brings us to the second stream.
Hey, I didn't even plan that, by the way.
You're way ahead of me.
You might remember the third one.
The coffee was clearly good. So the second stream of the merge is the policymaker conversations. And so when we talk to regulators like Jonathan Morrison, who will be here today, the administrator of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the primary automotive safety regulator, or you talk to U.S. senators and members of the House of Representatives, we start with those regulatory ambitions and those targets. Let's have more emissions, let's have higher safety. But you get very quickly into bigger questions. Is the U.S. competitive vis-a-vis China? How do we think about national security in a dynamic where there are clearly competitive forces at play? How do you think about the challenges between the world's largest auto market, China, and the world's second largest auto market, the United States? And so that's really animating conversations among policymakers right now. I mean, this week there's a hearing on Capitol Hill focused on this question of China and critical minerals as an example. So that's a big part of what's animating that second stream.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me when you look at retail environments, influence on GDP. Healthcare and auto are some of the two largest. But for those that like have international impact, healthcare is not as much as the automotive manufacturing and automotive industry, and the amount of capital resources, the amount of resourcing that goes into an industry. I think that third stream kind of sets up in that part. What's the investment that's going to go into this industry?
That's a third stream, exactly.
Nailed it.
I love my job, and one of the things I like about it,
I can't tell.
Thanks for that. So one of the things that I find really interesting is I get a lot of invitations from investors and institutional investors, other investors and analysts. Hey, explain the regulatory environment to me. This is more of a topic of conversation among analysts and investors than it ever has been in the 25 years I've been around the industry. Why is that? Because regulation has huge consequences for capital allocation. It could be tariffs, it could be emissions regulation vis-a-vis, if we don't get the balance right, we have no emissions. Maybe China wins the technology race.
Right. Yeah.
If we have overly aggressive ambitions, maybe it also favors China. So getting a middle ground supports our competitiveness. Those types of conversations are what investors want to understand further. And there's much more demand for that. And so we brought everybody into the same room. Like, why have these separate conversations? Let's bring everybody together.
All right, we're getting flagged down because we got time for one more question. What is the best possible outcome from getting everybody together today?
The best possible outcome is two things. One, a recognition that a healthy and competitive auto industry is critical to our economy and to our national security. Second thing, let's find the balance. Let's find a balanced way forward that supports the industry and its success.
We love that. We love the concept of merge, bringing people together in the same room to have critical conversations and create balance and a community that can engage in the same end goal. So, John, kudos to you for bringing this together. It's a big deal.
I love what you guys do. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being
here. Good luck.
Here.
We'll see you up there.
Thanks, John. Yeah. What a class act. First of all, it's been great to get to know John, to watch some of the conversations that he has. We quote him often, and the Alliance for Automotive Innovation. I love an event like this. It follows after our passion, bringing people together to have the real conversation.
He was just telling us a story, actually, that he was wearing his Love People shirt on a flight, international flight, and got in a great conversation because of what it means to bring the people and the cars together to be good, something that's good for everybody. So we're excited. A lot of new people. We get excited when we get to meet new people.
We do get excited.
Today's one of the day.
Follow us along on social. We would be remiss, obviously. Nathan just pointed this out. If we didn't recognize the passing of Tim Kintz, obviously someone in our industry that has meant so much, trained so many people, been on the ground, died too young alongside his family, but passed away this last weekend. And what a great impact to our industry. Anyone that has a passion for training, for giving back, for sewing into people, means so much to the industry. So we want to send our regards to his family and to those that knew him, knew the type of impact that he had on the retail side of our industry.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things you do to honor people is carry the torch.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to do our best to carry the torch to make this industry impact more lives, more deeply, more frequently. So I think that's it for now. We're going to go in there and we're going to try to meet some new people.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot. Follow us along on social. We'll share with you all this content soon.
We can say that to the end. We can just bow.